Lisa Marie Presley is remembered as the woman who blew a $150 million fortune. That story is wrong in almost every detail. She never inherited $150 million. The real figure was $100 million, and she did not blow it. Most of it was gone before she had any real control, traded away for stock that would collapse in value, while the man running her money took home more than $7 million in fees and told her everything was fine. What actually happened to the daughter of Elvis Presley is not the story the tabloid sold you. It is written down in court filings and in documents filed with the government. And tonight, we read every page. 7 parts, and the number that changes the whole story is in Part 5. Before we open a single document, we need to be honest about what she actually inherited, because even that number has been twisted. So let us start there. Part 1. The fortune that was never as solid as the number. On the 1st of February, 1993, Lisa Marie Presley turned 25 years old, and on that birthday, the entire Elvis Presley estate became hers. The figure reported at the time by People magazine was $100 million. Not 150, 100. That gap matters, because the larger number is the one the tabloids kept repeating for the next 30 years, and it quietly made everything that followed look like reckless waste. It was not. Here is what almost no one tells you about that 100 million. It was a rescue, not a fortune handed down intact. When Elvis died in 1977, his estate was worth a reported $10 million. And after taxes, after the cost of running Graceland, and after the manager who had taken up to 1/2 of everything Elvis ever earned, it had been whittled down to about $1 million within 2 years. The mansion Elvis had bought in 1957 for $102,500 was costing more to keep open than it brought in. The king of rock and roll had very nearly died, broke. And the reason why is a story in itself. Elvis's manager, Colonel Tom Parker, took a cut that no honest manager would dare ask for, up to 1/2 of everything. Worse, he used companies he set up, including the early version of Elvis Presley Enterprises, to shave Elvis's share of some income down to just 22 cents on every dollar. A lawyer named Blanchard Tual, appointed by the court to investigate, later estimated that Parker had drained $7 to $8 million out of the estate in only 3 years, and discovered that Elvis had never even been registered to collect songwriting royalties on around 33 of his credited songs. Colonel Parker died in 1997, worth about $1 million, having reportedly gambled away a fortune of his own. That was the wreckage Priscilla Presley inherited the job of fixing. What saved it was a single decision. Priscilla opened Graceland to the public in 1982. The conversion cost around $560,000. Tickets started at $5, and the money came back within a month. She hired a chief executive named Jack Soden to run it as a real business, and the tourists came by the hundreds of thousands. Over the next decade, that one house, and the name attached to it, rebuilt the fortune from $1 million back up to $100 million. So understand what Lisa Marie actually inherited, not a diversified empire. One comeback, built on one mansion and one revenue stream, handed to a 25-year-old who had never been asked to manage anything in her life. Hold that in your mind, because it is the reason a single set of decisions could unravel everything. Part 2. The man who took the keys. For the first 10 years, the trust ran quietly in the background. Then, in 2003, a business manager named Barry Siegel became co-trustee of the Elvis Presley Trust. From that point on, he was the one steering. He ran her money through his firm, Provident Financial Management, and for that service he was paid, on average, around $700,000 a year. Over the following decade, by her own lawyer's account, Lisa Marie Presley paid Barry Siegel well over $7 million in professional fees. $7 million to watch over a fortune and keep it safe. Remember that number, because the entire story turns on the gap between what she paid him to protect and what she had left when it was over. Part 3. The Deal. 2 years into his control of the estate, Barry Siegel made the single largest move of Lisa Marie Presley's financial life. In 2005, he sold 85% of Elvis Presley Enterprises, the company that owned the Elvis name, image, and business, to a public company run by a music mogul named Robert Sillerman. The company was called CKX, which stood for the phrase "content is king," plus Sillerman's own initials. And this is where we stop repeating what the tabloid said and open the actual paperwork, because the exact terms were filed with the government, with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the numbers are precise. For 85% of Elvis Presley Enterprises, the trust received $50 million in cash. It received almost $23 million more in preferred stock. It received a further block of common shares worth close to $4 million. And on top of all of that, CKX paid off more than $25 million of debt that the estate had run up. Added together, and the headline value of the deal was around $114 million. Lisa Marie kept the remaining 15% of the company, and she kept the Graceland mansion itself. There were smaller details buried in that deal that tell you exactly what kind of operator Sillerman was. He paid Priscilla Presley a separate $6.5 million just for the rights to the Graceland name, money that, legally, he did not actually owe her, because the estate had passed entirely to Lisa Marie. He took a 90-year lease on the mansion, prepaid around $3 million of rent, and then paid $1 a month after that. And Elvis was only one trophy in his collection. That same year, Sillerman also bought the company behind American Idol for around $200 million, and even acquired the rights to Muhammad Ali's name. He was assembling a machine of famous names, and Elvis was meant to be the crown jewel. On paper, this looked like the smartest thing anyone had ever done for her. In one signature, tens of millions of dollars in debt vanished, and tens of millions in cash appeared. If the story ended here, Barry Siegel would look like the man who saved the Presley fortune. But watch what she actually traded away. She sold most of the one asset that had never once stopped paying, the Elvis name, in exchange for cash she could spend, and stock whose value she did not control. And the stock is where this whole thing quietly began to die. Part 4. The Reassurance. Here is the detail that the polite documentaries leave out, the one that changes how you see everything else. While the money drained away, the man being paid to protect it kept telling her there was nothing to worry about. In his own later court filings, Barry Siegel pointed to the reassuring emails he had sent her over the years. "We are in good shape on your finances," one of them said. "We are okay," said another. Calm, steady, quarter after quarter, while the fees kept flowing in his direction. "Now, we promised you this would be fair, so here is the other side, and it is a real one." When Lisa Marie finally sued him, Barry Siegel did not simply deny wrongdoing. He countersued, and he argued that she was the problem. According to his filings, Lisa Marie was an uncontrollable spender who ran through $39 million of the roughly $40 million in cash from the Elvis Enterprises sale in just 3 years, between 2005 and 2008. 2 large homes, private jets, constant travel, and a lifestyle that no income on earth could keep pace with. So which was it? A manager who steered a fortune into the ground, or a spender who could not be saved from herself? The honest answer is that it was very likely both, and that is exactly the point. Because even if every dollar she spent was her own free choice, someone was being paid to watch the tank empty and to say the word stop. Someone was collecting $7 million to sound the alarm. Instead, the email said, "We are in good shape," and the single number that should have ended his career is not the $7 million in fees. It is waiting in Part 5. If you are getting value from this breakdown, take 1 second and subscribe, because we open the books on a fortune like this one every single week. Now let us get to the number. Part 5. The number they do not want you to see. By 2015, Lisa Marie Presley had seen enough and she fired Barry Siegel. 3 years later, in 2018, she took him to court in Los Angeles, and her lawsuit put a figure in writing that stops you cold. After a $100 million inheritance, and after a $114 million sale, the trust she had left held, according to her own lawyers, $14,000. Not $14 million. $14,000. Less than the cost of a used car, out of a fortune that once carried the most valuable name in American music. Where did it go? A large part of the answer, according to her lawsuit, was that stock from the 2005 deal. Lisa Marie claimed that the shares she had been given collapsed almost completely, that she lost roughly $24.5 million of the $25 million in stock when the company behind it fell apart. And here we have to be careful, because this is her legal claim, not a settled fact, and the public record complicates it. The company, CKX, had been quietly falling for years. Its stock once traded near $29 a share, and then slid, until in 2011, the whole company was taken private at just $5.50 a share. It was renamed Core Media Group, and in 2016, Core Media Group filed for bankruptcy, owing nearly $400 million, brought down when its crown jewel, American Idol, was canceled. Now this is the part that almost every video about her gets wrong. So listen closely, because getting it right is the difference between telling this story and guessing at it. The company that took her stock down was Core Media Group, the former CKX. It was not SFX Entertainment. That distinction matters because Robert Sillerman, the very same man who bought Elvis Enterprises, later built a completely separate company called SFX, an electronic dance music empire, and that company also collapsed into bankruptcy in 2016. 2 Sillerman companies, 2 bankruptcies, in the very same year. But Lisa Marie Presley had no stake in SFX. Anyone who tells you her money vanished into the dance music collapse is simply repeating a mistake. Her loss, whatever its true size, ran through the American Idol company. Whatever the exact figure, the destination was the same. By the time it was all counted, her 2016 court filings showed total debts of more than $16.5 million, over $10 million of it owed in back taxes alone. The fortune was not merely gone, it had turned degistive. Part 6. The Graveyard. And then it got worse, in the way these stories always seem to. On the 12th of January, 2023, Lisa Marie Presley died at the age of 54. The coroner ruled it a natural death, caused by a small bowel obstruction, a complication from weight loss surgery she had undergone years earlier. She was buried at Graceland, in the same garden as her father, and beside her son Benjamin, who had died less than 3 years before. She died in debt. Sources put the total at around $4 million, including $2.5 million owed to the tax authorities, and a bank still chasing more than $1.5 million on an English country estate she had bought and could no longer afford to keep. And this is where we have to hold 2 different numbers apart, because the tabloids blur them constantly. There is the $14,000 figure from the trust lawsuit. And then there is a completely separate snapshot from her divorce filings, which showed about $95,000 in cash, around $700,000 in other assets, and nearly $2 million owed to the tax authorities. Different documents, different moments in time, different court cases. Put them together carelessly, and you get nonsense. Keep them apart, and you finally see the real pattern, which was a woman spending about $92,000 a month against an income of roughly the same amount, running as hard as she could just to stay in one place. And the saddest part is that she had told us, plainly, 20 years earlier. In a 2003 interview, Lisa Marie Presley said as much herself. She did not have $100 million sitting in a bank account. People thought she did, but she did not. Nobody wanted to hear it. The myth of the untouchable Presley fortune was simply more entertaining than the truth. Part 7. The Empire Nobody Sees. Here is how it ends, and it does not end cleanly. The lawsuit against Barry Siegel never reached a verdict. It was delayed, stalled through the pandemic, and still unresolved on the day she died. No judge ever ruled on whether he wrecked the fortune or whether she spent it into the ground. Both stories remain, standing side by side, legally unproven to this day. There was, in the end, one last cruel turn of money. Lisa Marie had taken out around $35 million in life insurance, and reportedly, in the months before her death, she had tried to cash in a $25 million policy for a $2 million lump sum, just to stay afloat. A paperwork error stopped it from going through. Then, after she died, the fight moved to her own mother. Priscilla Presley challenged an amendment to the family trust that had removed her as a trustee and installed Lisa Marie's daughter, the actress Riley Keough, in her place. That battle settled in the spring of 2023. Riley Keough became the sole trustee of the Elvis Presley Trust. Her grandmother received a $1 million payment, her legal fees, and $100,000 a year for 10 years, while Lisa Marie's half-brother was carved a small share of his own. And even that was not the last hand reaching for the money. In 2024, a woman in Missouri was arrested by federal agents for trying to steal Graceland itself, using forged loan documents and a fake debt in an attempt to force the mansion into a fraudulent foreclosure sale. Riley Keough had to go to court to stop a total stranger from selling off the house Elvis had bought for $102,000. Which brings us to the thing that makes this more than a sad celebrity headline. The Elvis machine is still running. Graceland still draws more than 500,000 visitors every year. The name still earns, all around the world. The structure that outlived Elvis Presley outlived his daughter too. And that is the uncomfortable truth sitting underneath the $14,000. Lisa Marie Presley never really owned that fortune in the way the number suggested. She sat on top of a machine that other people had built and steered, and were paid very handsomely to protect. And when it emptied out beneath her, every statement she received still said that everything was fine. The question was never really why she ended with $14,000. The question is how a $100 million fortune can quietly disappear while the very people paid to guard it keep telling you it is safe. If this is the kind of story you want more of, the one about another woman who earned a fortune and died with almost none of it, is on your screen right now. We will see you inside it now.